Hello, everyone. So me and a friend of mine went to go see the Ghost in the Shell movie, and I will not say it is a perfect movie. By no margin is it a perfect movie. However, I do think that it's better than most people are giving it credit for. It started out very Ghost in the Shell, and I will say this: visually is Ghost in the Shell. Visually very Ghost in the Shell, very dystopian. You see a lot of crazy things moving around. You see, giant skyscrapers and people with, cybernetic arms and all this stuff. You see all of it from the get go. The problem I have with the movie is mainly because I've been a fan of Ghost in the Shell for a very long time, and I've watched 1995 film. I didn't watch Innocence. I haven't seen any of the Rise movies, I will say that. But I've watched the Ghost in the Shell series multiple times. One of my favorites. I'll deal with some of the more controversial stuff later on down the line. But for this one right now, or right now, I'm going to talk about how people acted, how people performed, how people did, and I will say that there were a lot of characters that kind of bothered me on how they were portrayed. One problem I have to mention right now is the dialogue. The acting, it was there, but the way that people said their lines and the pacing and the movement felt weird. It felt off a little bit. Um, and that oh god, like we'll take Bato because besides Scarlett Johansson, the actor who plays Bato has like the most lines, and they have a lot of good things going on together. Um, the way Bato says his lines, it definitely it sounds like this is what Bato would say in this scenario. This is what Bato would do. But it didn't feel like he was being Bato. It felt like he was trying to mold himself into being Bato. If you get understand, like it felt like he was trying to. He wasn't portraying Bato. He was like I'm actually finding it difficult to find the words to really describe what was going on with that because even though it looked like Bato, I've always had this thing where it's like it looks like a duck, it sounds like a duck, it walks like a duck, it's a duck. He sounded like Bato, looked like Bato, acted as Bato would, but yet was not Bato. It didn't feel like Bato. Um, it didn't feel like I was seeing Bato. I was seeing someone playing Bato. I guess that would be the most appropriate way to word that. Scarlett Johansson as the Major, she could have done better. She really could have done better. I understand what she was going for. I understand she was going for more that this film, while it was trying to take inspiration or most of its inspiration from the 1995 film, they still tried to put in like a whole bunch of other stuff from other things, like from Innocence, from the Ghost in the Shell series, especially the villain, or who starts out as the villain. Again, one other thing, villain, the ultimate villain, very weak, in my opinion. He was very weak. They could have done a lot better job with that particular aspect of the movie. Um, the philosophy and what it was trying to teach was definitely dumbed down, and the lessons that were in the original were dumbed down, but it still dealt with that problem that the Major has in the actual original film, which is trying to figure out who she is. And it really works in this film because they sort of emphasize, like, you are, no one else is like you. No one else has a full prosthetic body with just a brain. Um, everyone has cybernetic enhancements, like a liver so you can, like, drink more, or, eyes, so just pop something out. Eyes, or so that you can, or tactical vision and stuff like that, which Bato actually gets in this movie. Um, I think it definitely has sort of an origin syndrome, which what I mean by that is that this is the first part of what they hope will continue, and so they're setting up a lot of stuff. They don't really take a lot of time to explain other things. Um, like I said, visually it was definitely good. There were a few problems with acting. One problem I had was with Aramaki. Not how he was portrayed. Aramaki he's actually pretty good, pretty close. He had a few badass scenes, which I really enjoyed. One of the few times I clapped during the movie. And pretty much everyone clapped when we got to that part. But this will lead into what other things I want to talk about. But Aramaki was the only one actually speaking an Asian language. He was the only one speaking Japanese. He was the only one. The only one speaking Japanese. They constantly had subtitles down at the bottom whenever he spoke. And at that point, you're just putting a giant magnifying glass on the problem that this movie's trying to portray is whitewashing. And it doesn't, and it's yes and no. It's yes and no. It does whitewash a little bit. However, I will have to give it a no on that because the fact that the whole purpose for Ghost in the Shell, and it states this multiple times throughout the whole thing, is that as humans become more technological, more mechanical, race and ethnicity kind of fall by the wayside. And so it's difficult for you as an individual to know what you are. Again, if you can buy your face on a storefront, what makes you you? Is it your memories? Your memories are just memories, that's it. Little codes or electrical signals going through your brain. Is that what really defines you? We put so much stock in our skin, in our bodies, in our, ethnicity, in our race. When that becomes meaningless, when you can change... Fucking hair's all messed up, damn it. When you can change what that is, or what it eventually becomes, then at a certain point, it just becomes meaningless. It doesn't matter what race or ethnicity you were, it matters what you are now. But then that's not really you. That isn't you. That was never you. And so, when you're trying to figure out what makes you a human, you no longer are able to use stepping blocks that the past generation used. You need to come up with new things, which is kind of reflective on what's going on right now in the world. It's now getting to the point where, is the race and gender, you can choose your gender. It's like, the transgender thing, which, look, you do you. That's what I've always been a part of. You do you, and I'll do me. We won't mess with each other. We'll just let sleeping dogs lie. That's how I've always seen things. But not everyone sees it that way, and how people can, choose their genders is like, I don't want to be this, I want to be this. And you can change that. If you have the resources, you can change it. Same thing with this, with Ghost in the Shell, pretty much. You can have a prosthetic body where you were born as a female, but you can have a male prosthetic body. So, in a way that this movie can also address that, but in its own format. But it's a complicated issue, and I think a lot of moviegoers don't really understand that issue, and so they had to dumb it down a lot. Because the original Ghost in the Shell has a lot of talking, like a lot of talking. They talk about philosophy, what it means to be human, the purpose of memories, whether or not, memories are real or not, it can define you. Yeah, so, and this movie does touch upon that, bits and pieces here and there, but it doesn't. And I was definitely afraid that this was kind of going like a RoboCop way, but it wasn't. It was not RoboCop, and I'm glad of that. It did not go the RoboCop way, and I'm like, yay! What other things? There wasn't really a lot to this film when I go back and think about it, because when you go back and actually think about it, like a lot of stuff, they tried to bring in scenes from other films and other shows that involve Ghost in the Shell, but at the same time, it doesn't work. It works within the setting that they are creating, and it works within the story that they're making. But like a perfect example is there is a scene in the movie which is ripped straight out from the first Ghost in the Shell, the 1995, because that's what the kind of motif they're going for here. It's basically a garbage guy doing like this illegal thing, and then okay, in the original film, it's this garbage guy who's running around hacking into all these discs into the network, and a guy who is leaving these discs. Now, the garbage guy doesn't actually fight. He's just a guy who warns the guy, hey, look out, they know. And then the other guy who has, the submachine gun and the tactical cloak, then fires on. In this movie, it's two garbage people. They have automatic and semi-automatic guns. And the garbage guy has the tactical cloak. And they kind of try to get away with it, with later on when he's captured, is like, I don't know anything, my memory, I don't know. And I was like, really? I didn't have a problem because I like to go into movies thinking that this is a self-contained story, but something glaring like that, they try to lazily write off as, oh, he just wiped his memory, they don't remember getting that stuff. And it's like, they still had to get it. They still had to buy it. Someone had to supply them. It's a problem I have. And there are other problems like that in this movie. So I will not say it is a perfect movie by far. There are plenty of problems with it. There are plenty of reasons not to go watch it. There are plenty of reasons that you should watch it, because while it is not a great anime film, it is no Dragon Ball Z Evolution. It is no Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is no Attack on Titan. It is no Death Note live action. It is better than that. Not great, but better. So I feel it is a step in the right direction, however many missteps that took. That's how it is for me. It is my own personal opinion, and you can agree with it or you cannot. But I definitely feel that this movie at least deserves somewhere within like a 7 or 8. Maybe for some people who really don't like it, can go down to 6. But 6 is about the lowest I can really understand for this movie. Because the acting, while stilted, was not awful. The visuals were very interesting. They really tried to make this feel like a Ghost in the Shell world. And the music, it was on point, and it was definitely paired well with the visuals. you know, bringing scenes from scenes. There are a few that really don't make sense. Some cuts that seem just like an excuse to bring that scene in, which is a problem. Which is why I'm not going any higher than like an 8. But I feel that this is a decent movie. If you don't want to see it in theaters, it's definitely something you should try and rent when it's available. Or if there's a dollar theater in your area, if you don't want to spend full price, go to the dollar theater, watch it there. Um, and I'm really interested in when the DVD comes out and see what special features are on it so I can see exactly what they were thinking and, why this happened and, interviews with the cast and characters and stuff like that. So that's my take on it. If you don't like it, whatever. So until next time, later.